All right, here we go.
Spider-Man No Way Home is finally here! Spider-Man No Way Home, of course, continues right where Far From Home ended, where Mysterio reveals, Peter Parker's Spider-Man. And that basically turns Spider-Man world upside down, especially Peter Parker. We see Tom Holland's Spider-Man go through, like his identity being revealed, and all of a sudden all this news anchors and social media and all the attention he's getting, for people who love him and embrace him that he's Spider-Man, to a lot of people, seeing him as a bad guy. Mysterio was right, he's the villain and all that. But I think the movie did good. They really did a good job on setting the drama, how this would work, how it goes actually, how Peter deals with it, how Aunt May deals with it, how Happy Hogan deals with it. Actually, there's actually a funny scene how they find out that he's Spider-Man. It's just they do it in a funny way. What I like, this movie balances good humor with emotional scenes and then with action scenes. Like the tone of this movie, going back and forth between those emotions in this movie is actually done very well. When Peter gets mobbed by the news anchors, or and he has to go to court on trial because he's now, convicted of murder or so many felonies he did, because now people know that he's Spider-Man. It's just, I think the setup, how they do it is very well. And I got so excited when we saw this, we get Daredevil, Burt Murdock, as his lawyer. Like, I know there's been the rumors, but I was like, as soon as I saw it, I was like, oh shit, it's Daredevil, that'd be Daredevil from Netflix. Ooh, I can't wait to see him in this movie. I can't wait. I was so happy to see Matt Murdock in this movie. And there's this cool scene where he catches the break and he's like, how do you do that? I'm a good lawyer. I love them. I love them. There was such a great cameo in a role. I can't wait to see him in future Marvel projects. Now Spider-Man has to hide, of course, because he don't know where to go, so they hide at Happy Hogan. With all this craziness going on, him, Peter, Ned, and MJ are trying to get to the MIT, into college, but because of the recent news outlets and finding out that they are friends from Spider-Man and MJ is his girlfriend and all that, it kind of like they didn't get accepted, and it kind of cuts their chances of getting to MIT. So Spider-Man only sees the only way fit to go to Doctor Strange and, have him cast a spell to basically forget that, people ever knew that he was Spider-Man. That, something goes wrong with it, and that's how we actually get the multiverse in this movie, which I was so excited to see. And, the spell goes wrong and it starts opening portals and people from other universes came in. And when we get this infinite scene on the bridge with Dark Ark coming back, I was like, oh my god, this is so great. Seeing everybody back from the original movies is so great, and it really benefits the story. I really like that they use the characters in a good way. They don't just have them there for a quick cameo. Every character has sort of his own little arc. He goes to Doctor Strange about, asking oh, can you help me undo all this madness? And then of course he helps him to catch all the bad guys, and basically Doctor Strange wants to send them back, but Peter realizes that in that timeline, because when he communicates with the villains, he finds out that each of them basically die. And this is what Spider-Man always does. Spider-Man always tries to help. Even when it's the villain, even when he's trying to kill him, he always tries to help. He fights Doctor Strange, which is kind of weird, and he outsmarts him, what I actually kind of like, what was smart, and basically kept in the mirror dimension so he can help the villains. It was actually a kind of interesting idea, that Tom Holland Spider-Man wants to help the villains, kind of redeem them, in a way. And some people online oh, they don't like him, it's unredeemable, but hell, I mean, Darth Vader got redeemed and he slaughtered children, so if he can be redeemed, I mean, damn. But otherwise, I really like the storylines, and when you get the interactions with all the characters, with Jamie Foxx, Electro, the Lizard, Doc Ock, Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin, and everything's going good for a while. It looks like we cured him, but then we have this turning moment where the Green Goblin shows up, and basically everything goes back to shorts, and it's just everything, chaos breaks loose. The best performance out of the entire movie is Willem Dafoe as the Green Goblin. There's not a better performance in this movie. There are a lot of great ones, but Willem Dafoe is MVP hands down in this movie. The way he embodies the Green Goblin is just so perfection. From 1 second he's into Norman Osborn, who's just like, you know, this charming, normal, lovable guy. In a split in a second, he turns to this evil entity, the Green Goblin. If you look at the movie again, you have to watch Willem Dafoe face, the way he like kind of, his face transforms into the Green Goblin basically. It's the same like Mark Hamill when you watch the Arkham Knight's recording videos. Like when Mark Hamill does the Joker, you can literally see like him kind of with the expressions transforming into the character. And I really think that Willem Dafoe really gave the best performance, and his story arc, you know, with him going back and forth with Harry Osborn battling, you know, that inner demon, it's done so great. And you know, and it used it very good throughout the story, you know, how he basically drives and how he almost drives Peter Parker into, you know, into crossing the line that they never crossed. And there's this fight scene. Now I'm gonna tell you, when I saw that fight scene, I was like, oh shit, it's about to go down. Yo, the Green Goblin whips Tom Holland Spider-Man's ass in this movie. Like, you can't tell me nothing. This dude, I mean, Spider-Man just like hit him and hit him and hit him, and he's just smiling, enjoying it, and then power drives him, boom, to the floor and everything, smacks him against the wall. I was like, oh shit, damn. Oh, they ain't playing around. But it truly shows that the villains from the Sam Raimi Spider-Verse are really the strongest villains, like physically, because Tom Holland was really going at him, but Green Goblin is like, he made him his bitch. He just like, boom, smacked him there, bam, like real intense fight scene. I love that scene. That was a really great scene. And then of course, in the whole chaos that brought out, with Peter hoping he could redeem the villains, and of course, because of Green Goblin convinces everything that we are gods, we don't have to do this, let's just do whatever the hell we want. And of course, there's a very sad scene where I think Tom Holland does a very good performance. Same with Marissa Tomei when Aunt May unfortunately dies. It was kind of sad because I actually like Marissa Tomei as Aunt May. I really liked her, and have her seen gone and not be in Spider-Man 4 and the next installment. It's kind of sad. But I understand that they had to have somebody die in some way, because they don't have Uncle Ben die, so they did it with Aunt May. And we also get the famous line, you know, with great power comes great responsibility, and they did it in a very great way. And this whole emotional scene of him basically saying goodbye to his Aunt May because he has to run away because the cops are coming, of course the chaos that happened because of the Green Goblins and the Sinister Six. It's just a very touching scene. Meanwhile, we have MJ and Ned, you know, because Doctor Strange gave him a box where once you press it, everybody goes back to the universe. But you know, Spider-Man took that from Doctor Strange, including his ring to do the circles, you know, because he wanted to help them. So it's sitting at the door, and Ned's starting to do the circles, and this is, boy, let me tell you, this is what I have been wanting all this time, what everybody has been wanting. We get Andrew Garfield back as Spider-Man, yo! As soon as the portal opened and I saw that figure, I knew straight away. I was like, that's Andrew, yeah! I was the only one freaking out in my theater. When I saw the movie, everybody else was dead silent. I don't care, you can be quiet if you want. I'm celebrating. This is a Spider-Man moment. Like, true fan, if you're a true fan, how the hell can you sit still when you see Andrew Garfield being back as Spider-Man? That was such an amazing scene. And then they top it off. And then we get Tobey Maguire back. I was like, yes! I was like, Sam, I was like, oh happy day, oh happy day. Cause like, this is just like, Tobey Maguire, you know, that was my childhood Spider-Man. Spider-Man was one of the first movies I saw in cinemas. So seeing him back as Spider-Man, and just like, that was just like, that's Marvel actually did and actually listened to the fans, because I kind of think like they had to, because fans been wanting this for so long that they finally, as I said, like if they didn't do it, if they didn't have Andrew and Tobey in the movie, first of all it would be very disappointing. And because if you already have the villains from the previous movies, how can you not have the Spider-Mans from the previous movies? I think, and it would be the big letdown and disappointment. But they didn't let us down. Marvel, you didn't let us down. You didn't let us down. I think like everybody couldn't be happier with them returning. And then when you have moving forward, you have such a great humor. Their interactions between Tobey, Andrew, and Tom is just done so great. They, you know, they talk about Tobey's, you know, weird, you know, that Tobey Spider-Man can shoot web with his wrist. And they address it. I love the banter back and forth between them, how they talk about each other, how many villains they've fought. You can really tell like that Tobey is really like the father figure of Andrew and Tom. Like he really guides them and gives them help, which is done so great, and seeing them together. And then we have this amazing scene of all three Spider-Men swinging through the scene and just like, and then landing at once. I was just like, if that will be like definitely top 2 of best Spider-Man scenes in movies ever, seeing those three swing together and then land and fight the villains, I was just like, yes, this is what we want, this is what the fans want. And we have this great moment with all these three characters, you know, where Tom Holland just lost Aunt May, and then we see Toby and Andrew coming in, you know, and talking to him, and we see Andrew talking about Gwen Stacy, and just like, I would say the performances are so amazing, and Andrew does such an amazing job as Spider-Man. Like you can really see, like it still haunts him, the guilt that he has of not catching Gwen Stacy. And when Toby talks about his Uncle Ben, I was just like, ooh, and then they still played the original music. I was like, ooh, you can't do this to me, you hit me too hard in the feels right here. I was like, it was such a beautiful moment of them, you know, giving motivation to each other, and then together in a laboratory, you know, trying to figure a way out to cure them and doing it together. And it was such a, it's really done great. The comedy is good at times when it needs to be, moments where they are emotional are there when it needs to be, and great action is there when it needs to be. So it's really greatly done, this movie. And when you have the final fight at the Statue of Liberty, who now has a Captain America shield instead of flame, what I actually was actually a funny idea. That whole end sequence is just everything a Spider-Man fan wants. You have basically all the villains from the previous movie, everybody just go at it. It's just crazy, action fun, action packed. It's so great. I love the line where they didn't know how to work the team, and I don't want to brag, but I was in the Avengers, and Toby goes, that's great, the Avengers, what's that? Realizing that like that's not that universe, and it's like, and Andrew's, are you a band? Are you a band? No, it's just I love that, and I love that they gave us the beat of Spider-Man's pointing to each other. It's like this movie, like whoever, Kevin Feige, John Watts, everybody who was involved in the movie, I think they really did the research what the fans want. This movie did a lot of fan service. It felt right. It never felt forced. It never felt underutilized. It never felt like something was wrong with it. Like everything, every fan service, every great moment with either Andrew, Toby, or Tom was done right, and it felt right continuing the story, you know, of them trying to cure it. They have this big battle going on, and we get this heartwarming scene. We get MJ falling down, you know, like the scene for Gwen Stacy, and Tom Holland can catch it. Andrew swoops down and catches Gwen Stacy. That was just like, when I thought already this movie cannot get even better, I was like, yes it did, because seeing that moment, and when you see his reaction when he finally catches MJ, it's just so heartbreaking to see. It's like, I'm still mad about that scene in Spider-Man 2. Talk about the movie of the world. That scene is heartbreaking. Heartbreaking. It's just like, it's so sad, but to see like him kind of redeem himself and kind of get like some relief, you know, that he caught her in a way. It's just done so great. And then of course you have Spider-Man, because, you know, fighting Green Goblin at the end, the last fight in the movie, because, you know, Green Goblin killed Aunt May, and he see Tom Holland Spider-Man just going crazy, just going ham like Green Goblin did before. And what I like about it, that like, you know, for when I watched the movie with my brother, he told me like he didn't like that, you know, that all of a sudden Green Goblin was getting punched and he let him hit him. But I was like, no, that was the point of the Green Goblin when he gave his speech that like, you know, we are gods, we take what we want. This is pathetic that you want to redeem and change the way we are and everything. Like, I really like that was Green Goblin's goal. It never was like to rule this or this. He wanted to drive Spider-Man into that place that you cannot return anymore. He wanted that Spider-Man kills him, because then he shows him that you are just like us. I really love that they did that with the Green Goblin. And I really say the Green Goblin's really a smart villain. Like, he's not just like a dumb villain. Like, Green Goblin's really so smart in the movie, like the way he uses his bombs, his tactics, and the way he wants to drive Tom Holland Spider-Man, you know, into like, yes, become a villain. It's done so great. When Tom Holland almost stabs Green Goblin, and Tom Holland stops it and reminds her like, no, this is not what we do, you know, this is not who we are. It's just done so great, like, this movie. And then of course we, you know, because of the spell, Doctor Strange being there and trying to fix the spell, of course, the multiverse is starting to break up, and we see Kraven the Hunter, Scorpion, Rhino. So I really hope we get to see them in the other movies. But it's a really great movie. Like, overall, when it wraps up, I really love what they did with Tom Holland's Spider-Man, and I really love how Tom Holland's Spider-Man is now on his own and have to do everything on his own. He's now set up on his own. Like, he had his trials with the Avengers and everything, but now, you know, he has a fresh start and he has to like kind of prove himself on his own. What I really love, like, he gets a small apartment, what kind of reminded me in Spider-Man 2. He does his own suit, which is done very nicely, and, you know, swings throughout New York, and that's basically how the movie ends. Like I said, overall the movie is very great. When it comes to the, sometimes the pacing can be a little bit slow, but because of the characters that are in the scenes, it never felt like that, because the characters are so interesting and you're so invested in the story that maybe at times you can feel like the pacing is a little bit slow, like you can pick it up a bit. But other than that, I don't have any complaints about this movie. I'm really happy. My inner child is satisfied. This movie is so good. It was really gave everything the fans wanted and everything we needed. Every like callback or reference and every quality in Andrew Garfield. I really hope we get to see Amazing Spider-Man 3 with Venom, and also the cameo that we got by Tom Hardy. I was kind of iffy about that like they have him there for a second and then just leave a little bit symbiote back for Tom Holland. But I really hope we get to see Venom versus with Andrew Spider-Man fighting, and I really hope we should get like Spider-Man 4 of Tobey. I don't need a new trilogy with Tobey. I just like give him this last movie that he deserves. I feel like Tobey deserves to do Spider-Man 4 and Andrew deserves to do Spider-Man 3. And just like give us those two movies at least, or maybe give Andrew like even to do 2 more, like Spider-Man 3 and 4, because I feel like he's young, he could do more. But like, I'm so happy with this movie. I'm going to give this movie a 9 out of 10. So Spider-Man No Way Home, let me know what you think about the movie. Did you love it like I did? Because I love this movie so much. I'm so happy seeing it. And like, again, Willem Dafoe, everybody who came back as the main villains was done so greatly. But Willem Dafoe is still MVP in this movie, the way they use him in this movie. But thanks everybody for watching. As always, see you next time.